Hello, I'm Brad Billers, and welcome to Banking U, where I'll be sharing what I'm learning about R. Nelson Nash's infinite banking concept, or IBC. And from the outset, one thing I want to stress is that there's loads of commentary you'll find under the banners of infinite banking concept, or infinite banking, or IBC, but that are not consistent with Mr. Nash's teachings. They range from unrecognizable from to very much like his philosophy, but what I will be sharing is my earnest effort to honor his work and be 100% in keeping with infinite banking as he presented it. I heard a well-respected, very seasoned IBC practitioner who worked directly with Mr. Nash, and he recently said that it was a privilege to have access to this knowledge. And I couldn't agree more, which is why I'm trying to do this the way I'm doing it, and in keeping with Mr. Nash's teachings. Now, there's so much to cover and uncover with IBC, but something that Mr. Nash stressed that's resonated with me is to never lose sight of the fact that we're dealing with a concept, the infinite banking concept. Now, this is where things start to get interesting because, at least to me, this is really about our ability to think for ourselves, to tap into our natural curiosity about how things really work, and to accept that there just might be a different path, one that's actually better than what we've come to believe and have been taught. Of course, there's a deliverable here, there's an actionable thing involved, but much more important are the principles his idea is built upon. And when I started digging, I was elated to find that Austrian economics was a major influence on Mr. Nash, and I think it's fair to say the foundation of it all. So let's start there, shall we? Now, Austrian economics, or what is also referred to as the Austrian School of Economics, is not a reference to the financial workings of a certain South Central European country. No, the name is attributable to its founder, Karl Menger, who was born in a portion of the Austrian Empire which is now Poland, though from what I understand he spent most of his life in Vienna, Austria. Thus, the Austrian name and connection. So I could nerd out and go into fairly esoteric things like Menger's subjective theory of value as contrasted with the classical cost of production and labor theories of value, and his thoughts on price determination and money. But to prevent putting most of you to sleep, let's delve into the words of subsequent Austrian economists Menger influenced. And bear with me because it may seem like I'm vomiting quotes here, but I assure you these will provide a solid synopsis of the Austrian school's philosophy, and in the process, you'll begin to see how it fits into the IBC. So here we go, and there's no better place to start than with Karl Menger himself. He said, "Man himself is the beginning and the end of every economy." And here is the great Murray Rothbard. Taxation is theft, purely and simply, even though it is theft on a grand and colossal scale, which no acknowledged criminals could hope to match. It is a compulsory seizure of the property of the state's inhabitants or subjects. And here's something from probably my absolute favorite thinker and writer, Lysander Spooner. He said, "No man can rightfully be required to join or support an association whose protection he does not desire." And here's one from Ludwig von Mises, the namesake of the Mises Institute, based in Auburn, Alabama, which, by the way, is probably the best single source of Austrian-related material and can be found at Mises.org, and I'll include a link in the description. He said, "The struggle for freedom is ultimately not resistance to autocrats or oligarchs, but resistance to the despotism of public opinion." And the next one comes from what may seem to be an unlikely source, author Ayn Rand. She said, "People are not embracing collectivism because they have accepted bad economics. They are accepting bad economics because they have embraced collectivism." And let's wrap up the quotes with a couple more from Murray Rothbard. "The state is and always has been the great single enemy of the human race, its liberty, happiness, and progress. And the state is a gang of thieves writ large, the most immoral, grasping, and unscrupulous individuals in any society." Now, I'll be sharing more thoughts from these and other Austrian school thinkers as time goes on, but hopefully that gives you a sense of what it's all about, which is voluntary interaction, consent, a strong suspicion around the intentions and value of government involvement in practically everything, that the best and most efficient resolutions to human problems are driven by individuals seeking to improve their own circumstances, and that money should be governed by those who use it, not by a construct of authority that has as its sole incentive to perpetuate itself through taxation, in other words, theft and confiscation. Again, the Austrian school onion has many layers to peel, but this gives us a good start. Hopefully this has demonstrated that Mr. Nash's concept is based on very different ideals and mindsets than we're used to. Ultimately, those who can even contemplate the infinite banking concept are in the smallest of minorities. And while that's unfortunate, it's understandable because we've all heard pretty much the same advice about money, haven't we? Things like borrow at the lowest rate until we can build up sufficient reserves to pay cash for major purchases. And start investing early, typically in 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, and the like, so that we have sufficient time to weather the inevitable market corrections. But is it possible that guidance is in the best interest of others and not us? And if knowledge like the infinite banking concept is in our best interests, why is it virtually unheard of? As we move forward, we'll be taking on those questions and many others. Thanks for being here, and I hope you'll join me next time when we take a deeper look into mindsets and psychology around money. Until then, be well.